It's the Real News Network. I'm Sharmini Peres coming to you from Baltimore. Jeremy Corbyn, the current leader of the Labour Party of UK, is fighting to stay the leader in spite of the non-confidence vote he got from his fellow MPs of 172 to 229, where 172 voted for him to leave the party and some 40 MPs voted for him to stay. The struggle for leadership has been dubbed a fight for the soul of the party by the British press. But our next guest, John Weeks, suggests otherwise. He says this misses the deeper issue of fundamental policy differences around which there has been a lack of debate. And further, he says it is in fact a battle for neoliberal party members, a battle of the neoliberal party members of parliament versus the grassroots that supports the current leader, Jeremy Corbyn, and his social democratic policies. Here is Jeremy Corbyn in Liverpool over the weekend at a rally attended by thousands of supporters. Let's have a look.
I don't see this leadership contest as a distraction. I see it as a massive opportunity to reach out to people all across this country. Our determination is to achieve a society that works for all, not just a few. We're strengthened by our resolve. We're strengthened by our determination. We're above all strengthened by our collective hope. Coming together, working together, not blaming each other or blaming minorities. That gives us hope. That gives us opportunity. That gives us a world of justice, peace, and human rights.
To discuss the struggle going on, I'm being joined by John Weeks in London. John is Professor Emeritus of the University of London and author of the book Economics of the 1%, How Mainstream Economics Serves the Rich, Obscure Reality, and Distorts Policy. He's also the author of two recent articles on the issue titled Understanding the Corbyn Phenomena and Labour Party Leadership Fight for Policies, Not Souls, both published in Dollars and Cents, a progressive economics news and analysis blog. John, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Pleased to join you.
So, John, on this side of the Atlantic, most progressives and those who follow UK politics, we know about Jeremy Corbyn, and he's being likened here to Bernie Sanders. But we know a little about his opponent, Owen Smith, and the Labour Party's MP, who now is running against him. Tell us more about Owen Smith and the MPs that support him and how they differ from Corbyn's.
First, the facts. Owen Smith is 46 years old. That makes him about 20 years younger than Jeremy Corbyn. He is a member of Parliament from Wales, a traditionally strong Labour area. He worked for the BBC before he became an MP, and most controversially in terms of his position or his hopes for being a leader, he was a lobbyist for a large drug company, and in the course of his lobbying was involved in with the National Health Service and lobbying there. So it is alleged by his opponents that he is not a safe pair of hands for the health service, and more generally that he is, you might say, a faux social democrat, that basically he is a neoliberal. My own view is that he is a rather undistinguished figure, and the reason he is running is because relatively little is known about him. He can sell himself, or attempt to sell himself, as a social democrat, because it is clear from the polls that have been taken of Labour members and so on that the members of the Labour Party, the grassroots, does not want another Blairite, another neoliberal. And so the only hope of beating Jeremy Corbyn is to say, I also have most of Jeremy Corbyn's policies, but I'm younger, more vigorous, and more likely to get elected. And that's basically Owen Smith's line.
And what are the polls saying at this time, and when's the vote taking place?
It's rather, I think Americans have found it a rather a strange arrangement. The vote, people can cast their, members can cast their vote online or by ballot all this month, and the results are not announced until about the middle of September, which is a rather long, drawn-out process. And there's no question that stretching it out in that way weakens the ability of the Labour Party to counter positions taken by the Conservatives. That's what's happened 6 years ago when there was a leadership conflict, and it's happening again now.
And give us a sense of what you think the results will be. Where are the grassroots and the rank and file of this party compared to the MPs who obviously voted against Jeremy Corbyn? But where do you think it will come down?
Well, given my excellent record for predicting almost every electoral contest wrong, I will nonetheless say that I would be very surprised if Jeremy Corbyn did not win. And I'll briefly explain why. The British Labour Party first formed a government on its own in 1945, immediately after World War II, and from 1945 till 1979, when Margaret Thatcher became Prime Minister. For that 35 years, it was a hierarchical party which was governed basically by the leader of trade unions. Some of those leaders were progressive, some of them were not. And when I say hierarchical, I mean that the MPs in each constituency were, to a great extent, chosen by the leadership of the party, not by the grassroots. The function of the grassroots of the party was to go out and knock on the doors and support the candidate who was chosen from above. And just about every candidate had to be cleared by the trade unions. Okay, come the Thatcher period, trade unions are crushed. Goes from a point where the trade union membership in Britain is from where it's about 50% until it drops down to where it is now, down in the 20s. Trade union base of the Labour Party collapses, and Tony Blair comes forward and he transforms, or seeks to transform, the Labour Party basically into a US-type party, in which, by that I mean a party which is not based on membership, but is based on courting voters literally in the open market against the other parties. And Blair, either because he believed it or he was or he thought it was convenient, thought that what would sell to that was a neoliberal policy. So he had a neoliberal, hierarchical Labour Party which had lost its trade union grassroots. What happened 5 years ago was that the rules were changed in the Labour Party. Ironically, the reason the rules were changed is because the neoliberal, the Blairites, wanted to completely eliminate the power of the trade unions, which was waning in any case. So they went to one person, one vote. Little did they know the consequence of that. Jeremy Corbyn is the consequence, because despite all of those Blair years, the grassroots of the Labour Party is social democratic. Just to finish up, so what we're seeing is the formation of a new type of politics that's not just a cliche in Britain, going from a hierarchical party based on trade unions to a hierarchical party based on a neoliberal elite to a mass-based party in which actually the members, and you're a member at your constituency level, have the power to choose who the leader is. Now, is Jeremy Corbyn electable? Will he ever be prime minister? I don't know. But what I do know is that the new electoral scenario in the Labour Party is such that it will be very difficult to defeat him. And the technique that the Blairites, mostly the people in the parliamentary Labour Party, the technique they're using is trying to restrict the number of people who vote, ruling out people who join the party after January of this year. Whether or not they're successful in that, I don't know. But it appears from polls that have been done of Labour Party members that Jeremy Corbyn is well ahead at the moment.
And give us a sense of the platform or the issues that he is standing behind that's gaining such popularity among the members.
Okay, there were actually just, that's a very convenient time to answer that question, because he just issued a statement as part of his campaign contest with Owen Smith. He is for ending British nuclear program. He is for introducing a set of labor laws for all medium and large enterprises, which prohibit a number of labor practices and make it such as 0 hours contracts. I don't know what they're called in the United States. That's basically what where you just hire someone for the day with no obligation whatsoever to even to hire them when they show up at work, make that illegal, and will make it easier for trade unions to organize. So that's his trade union bill. He would eliminate university fees and fund university attendance through general taxation, and he would introduce an industrial policy. What that means concretely is that there would be a national investment bank, which would then support the sort of innovative industries in the private sector, and in some cases there would be joint ownership between the public and the private sector. So there are quite a range of policies which you might say are the 21st century equivalent of the social democratic policies which characterize most European left-wing parties at the end of the last century.
All right. John, I thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be keeping an eye on this and hope to have you back really soon as this contest gets underway for the Labour Party leadership.
Well, thank you for having me, and it is an exciting time to be watching politics in Britain, just as I think it was an exciting time to watch Bernie in the United States.
Very good, and thank you for joining us on the Real News Network.